So for the last 4 weeks, we have been talking about the patriarchs of the Bible, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, last 3 weeks. And now we're going to conclude by mentioning Joseph. Of course, we all know that Abraham was chosen by God. Isaac was his second born. Jacob was Isaac's second born. And Joseph was Jacob's 11th born child. And we know that through Abraham, God had given him a covenant, that a promise that his seed would multiply as the sands of the sea and the stars of the sky, and that through him all the nations of the world would be blessed. And the sign of that covenant was the rite of circumcision. And so we said Abraham was walking in faith in action. Then Isaac was a young man who was told, God told Abraham that his son would fulfill his destiny. And Isaac carried on the tradition. Then Jacob was Isaac's son, and he was the one who God met all his needs.
Have mercy.
Now we're going to get to Joseph, and we call this message Road to Prosperity.
Have mercy.
Road to Prosperity. And we put all these together to see, we can see how God is working. In the Bible, there are about 31,000 scriptures, somewhere in that neighborhood, maybe a little bit more, 31,000 and a few scriptures. Out of those 31,000 scriptures, 800 or more have reference to money or wealth. Money or wealth. How you obtain it. Wealth and money. And sometimes we don't think that. We think that the Bible is void of mentioning money. 800 scriptures or more. God talks about money because in this economy, the world's economy, money is how God used, or what God used to get his program started. Someone said that, well, that must have been love makes the world go on. Money makes the girl run love. Which one was it? Love or money makes the world go round? Well, anyway, if you don't have it, you're in trouble. And even when Jesus was paying his taxes, he didn't do anything miraculous in terms of giving the money to Caesar, but a coin came out the fish's mouth. So he used money. So the Bible speaks of money. And prosperity is having more than enough.
Have mercy.
More than enough. So your life can be enjoyable in this world that we walk. And then one day, of course, you can, spiritually speaking, you will be in heaven, but having more than enough in your life. And that can be situational because it depends on where you live in the world. If you live in, say, maybe someplace in some countries, you make $30 a month and you could be somewhat wealthy. And if you live in Washington, D.C., you make $30 an hour, you still wouldn't be wealthy. You'd be just making ends meet. So God will provide more than enough where you live. And that's what prosperity is. Not just getting your needs met, but getting more than your needs met. And God doesn't say that's wrong. He doesn't say that's wrong. He just tells us that it's more difficult for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven because sometimes he enjoys his riches more than he enjoys God. He doesn't say it was impossible. So having more than enough, nothing's wrong with that. Most of us in here have more than enough. Mercedes and big houses and 20 dresses and 15 shoes on one side of the closet, and hats and jewelry, in a room that we only sit in once in a while. So most of us have more than enough. And sometimes we spend that way too. I saw that the Christmas season has already started.
Have mercy. Have mercy.
They said on TV last night, I believe, or one day on the news, that the stores are stocking up because they're expecting a big season. And you think, well, how can you have a big season if so many people are unemployed? Because most people have more than enough.
Have mercy.
They can make up for the unemployed. You make 2 checks, most of you. 2 checks more than a lot of people make. So, that's what the Bible talks about. But how do you get to prosperity? Many of us have it. Many of us want to keep. How do you get there? The Bible speaks there of money. It says in 6:38, give and be given to you, a good measure pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be poured in your lap. So God said, I give you more than enough. I can do it. I can give you more than enough. And sometimes we get more than enough. A lot of us squander it or spend it because we spend more than we make. But we make more than enough. We just don't use it wisely. Psalm 66:12 says, we went through the fire and through water, yet you brought us out into a place of abundance. More than we needed.
Thank you, Jesus.
More than we needed. Jesus said, I came to give you life and give it to you more abundantly. Malachi 3:10 says, bring the whole tithe that there may be food in my house. Test me in this way, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessings that you won't have room to receive them.
Mercy.
More than enough. God promises you, you can have it all.
Thank you, Jesus.
I mean, you want it all.
Mercy.
Yeah, you can have it all. But there's a way to get it and a way to keep it. The Bible says in Psalm 37, verse 4, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the what? The wants, the desires of your heart. You desire it, you can get it. Prosperity, more than enough. You can get it. But how do you get there to get it? Brother Gaines, how do you get there to get it?
Mercy.
And that's what we want to talk about this morning. Because we want it.
Have mercy.
We want it. And there's 4 simple ways that I come up with. Of course, there are millions of ways that you can get more than enough. Road to prosperity. We're using Joseph as our patron this morning. Joseph, a young man, was 17. And we're going to go his life for 13 years. He was a young man of 17, tending the flocks with his brothers. He was a shepherd kid of 12 kids. And they were tending sheep. Didn't have much. Didn't have very little at all. In fact, we find out later that they had to go to Egypt to buy grain. Didn't have much at all. Then, fast forward 13 years. The Bible says Joseph was 30 years of old. And when he entered the service of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, he had him ride in a chariot as his second in command. From a shepherd boy to the second in command, wealthy man, second wealthiest man in the world. How did he get there? In fact, the Bible says Pharaoh put him in charge of the whole land of Egypt. So in 13 years, Joseph went from a poor shepherd lad to a billionaire. More than he would ever need in life.
Mercy.
How do you get there? The road to prosperity. God can take you there, can't he? God can take you there. And the Bible says a lot of things about riches and fame, but we're not going to get there. But God can take you there. So how do you get more than enough where you can have your cake and ice cream too? And also your cookies. Let us pray. Lord, we thank you. Thank you for your blessings. Ask that you just open our hearts and mind to just sort of receive the word today in a very powerful way. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Now, how did we get there? We find Joseph, a lad of 17 years of age. He had 11 other brothers and sisters. 11 other brothers, rather. They were all younger than he was, except for one. And older than he was, rather, except for one. And so we start with him at the age of 17, being a young shepherd boy. And this is what the Bible says about him in Genesis 37. Miss Ever, it says, "Now Jacob loved Joseph more than any of his other sons. And when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him." They didn't like him at all. And they were not even nice to him. But anyway, even in the midst of that, Joseph had a dream. In the midst of that hostility, Joseph had a dream. And he told his brothers of his dream. And they hated him more.
Have mercy.
And he said, "Listen to this dream I had." And then we don't have it here, but then he had another dream. And he told his fathers and his brothers. His mother, Rachel, had died, but he told his brothers of the dream that he had had. And they hated him.
Have mercy.
They hated him. So in the midst of a hostile environment, in the midst of a situation where he wasn't well liked, in the midst of all his circumstances, he still envisioned prosperity through this dream. So if you're going to get to the road of prosperity, you must envision prosperity and be bold no matter the circumstance. Amen. You got to see it. Amen. When he had this dream, he told his brothers, "You know, we were in the field and we had some sheaves and yours bowed down," and they could see it.
Have mercy. Have mercy.
And when he told his parents, his father, that the stars bow down to me, they could see it.
Have mercy.
And he saw himself as being, even though he was the 11th child boy, he saw himself as being over all of them.
Have mercy.
You got to envision that. You just gotta say, "I can do it. I can do it." God said to Abraham when he was just had 3 or 4 people in his company, God said to him, "I will make you a great nation and I will bless you." And Abraham saw it.
Have mercy.
It hadn't come yet, but he saw it. "I will make your name great and you will be a blessing." So Abraham went forth as God had spoken to him. And so if you're going to get to this road of prosperity, you got to not only think big, you got to see big.
Have mercy.
Not pipe dreams. You got to say, "I can do it." Not only I can do it, I can see myself doing it.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yes, you got to envision that you can do it. Because the Bible says this: the Lord makes poor and rich. Both of them. And you got to see yourself as rich. Not you'll be poor. The Bible says, "I came to give you life and give it to you more abundantly." If you don't see yourself as having it, you won't get it.
Have mercy. Have mercy.
So you got to envision prosperity. I got a picture back in my office of Bessie Coleman. She was a pilot in around 1901, African-American woman. And she was from Texas, and she saw these planes, the first time they flew, and the planes were flying. The Wright brothers had invented a plane, I think 1901 or something like that. And she saw one in 1904 or something flying, and she envisioned one day that she was going to be flying.
Have mercy.
And they didn't let women, especially African-American women, take flying lessons. So she went to France, took flying lessons. And one day she became the first African American, first female pilot that did certain things. Even before Amelia Earhart had even thought about flying. Because she envisioned bigness.
Thank you, Jesus.
We got to see.
Thank you,
And in
Jesus.
terms of our church growing, we got to see, we got to envision, we got to see that it's going to grow. In terms of your own status in life, you came from the ghetto, you came from the fields, you got to see, I can make this. I can do this because God has given me a dream.
Thank you.
Now, a pipe dream is given to you by man, but a dream that you can see is given to you by God. So you got to envision prosperity. How many of you envisioned prosperity when you were young? Those of you who are prosperous now. And brother Miles, how did you do that? What did you envision?
Well, I worked hard and I knew I didn't want to stay on that farm.
And so you saw yourself as, yeah. And you don't have that. You don't have that. And we can go back a couple. How many, Brother Harrington, you met it in life? Did you think big way back when?
All the time.
Yeah. And we got to encourage our kids to dream. Not dream about having enough to take care of you and your family and go on cruises and vacations and buy your cars and all that. You got to think that way. No matter what Satan tells me, I'm a child of God. Amen. Even though what I tell myself sometimes, I'm still a child of God. Amen. Even when somebody tells me something, I'm still a child of God. Even when I feel bad and I fall on my face, I'm still a child of God. Amen. Because positionally, God sees me as holy.